So let me introduce myself. My name is Elizabeth Montemorano. I am a pharmacist. I have a Bachelor of Science degree in pharmacy, which really didn't help me on this journey at all. But I do understand the reasons why with this particular program, it's not only practical, it actually works. And I will share with you the equation that I learned when I was in school, what the knowledge was at that time, and we know it was completely wrong. And the knowledge that we have now is going to be what helps you to get on this journey of weight loss without exercise. So if you clicked on this thumbnail, you're most likely here. You may be someone closer to my age range. Maybe you're struggling with weight that's come on during perimenopause or menopause, and you're wondering, how do I get back? You know, it was so frustrating when you haven't been overweight for all of your life, and now all of a sudden, you know, if you're anything like me, I tried everything. I tried every trendy diet. I tried keto. I tried fasting. I tried everything I could eat. I even jumped on the treadmill and made a fool out of myself and really literally hurt myself. And the only real sustainable result that I got was weight gain. And that was not my goal. It's not what I was looking for. And so if that's where you're at, stay with me. I told you I learned an equation when I was in pharmacy school, and it was a very simple one, I thought, or they thought, and it seemed rational. Calories in, calories out, right? And that's still not an untruth. The truth be told, however, there's much more to it, especially to the calories out part, that affects why the calories in need to be adjusted. So first of all, let me just say, if you're on some sort of a starvation diet, or you're on a diet like keto, something that deprives you of either macro or micro nutrients or both, then your body's going to go into starvation mode. And when it's a defense mechanism. Frankly, it's a survival mechanism. You're going to go into starvation mode, and when you do, your basic metabolic rate will drop. Your basal metabolic rate, it will drop. And when it drops, you will require less and less and less calories to sustain the weight that you're at. So calories in, calories out, if you're working that equation, you are actually gaining weight by starving yourself. And if you don't think that's true, I am a master faster, and I am proof of that it is absolutely possible to starve yourself into weight gain. So if you've done this, I'm with you. But let's fix it. Let's not do that anymore. Let's fix it. So it's important, though, that you get both your macronutrients, which means your proteins, carbohydrates, and fat, and also all of your micronutrients. So if you're attempting this without the tools that we work with in the program, if you are going to need to self-provide that adequate amount of micronutrients. So I would recommend a serious multivitamin and anything else that if you have a primary care that will run some tests and see where your vitamin D and the rest of those levels are, that would be fantastic. So that would be a good place to start there. So macro and micronutrients, really important. Starvation, not the way to go. So what I am going to share with you is a program that while you're working it, you not only will not be hungry, you will be satisfied, your body will get everything it needs, and you will start to turn your body fat into fuel. Let's talk about PAL for a minute. PAL, physical activity level. As I told you, I did not say exercise, but habits of motion are very important. So PAL means whatever you're capable of doing. Now, we talked about maybe having more weight on than is physically ideal for you to do some levels of physical activity. I have clients who couldn't even walk across a parking lot, couldn't get to their car without stopping a couple of times and huffing and puffing. Okay, that is not a person that I'm going to recommend walks 30 minutes a day. You need to be able to do whatever physical activity you've chosen or are capable of while you can still talk. So if you can walk and talk and do a distance, then that's physical activity that's acceptable. If you can climb a flight of stairs and still talk at the top and not have to stop and bend over and huff and puff, then climb the stairs. If you can't, take the elevator. Whatever you're capable of doing for a habit of motion is what we're really talking about here. Now, you're going to start with small goals. You get a smartwatch, you get a Fitbit, you get a pedometer. They're cheap. God, I think I've got 3 of them that I got at health fairs free. There's many ways of keeping track of your steps. I would say start with what you're comfortable with, see what that level is, and have a goal in place that you increase that. maybe every week. If you're able to do 2,500 steps this week, try and do 3,000 next week, something like that. So that you're just increasing it a little at a time, but always able to talk while you do it. So be very careful that you're not doing some crazy, you're here because you don't believe in boot camp, all right? I don't believe in boot camp. I can't even watch those things. It's painful to me to see those people with that much weight on, hurting their joints, hurting their organs. I mean, the potential catastrophic effect on your heart, your lungs, the amount of miles of capillaries that you have to support that amount of being overweight is mind-boggling, truly mind-boggling, what your body has to do to provide any kind of oxygen to the muscles and the tissue when you've got that much weight on. It's a terrible, terrible idea. So when we talk physical activity, I highly encourage it because you can raise the level on that side of the equation, but just be careful. You want to be sensible about it. Again, having a personal health coach, that's where some of this comes in. I can help you with these ideas and with your goals and make them serious and also make them doable, but effective. So if you're looking for a personal health coach or have ever thought about it, my credentials and my information are down below. I'd be happy to do a health assessment. Thermic effect of food is the last component to this equation. Now, this is probably the smallest component, but it's still there. It's the amount of energy that your body requires to actually digest and absorb the food that has passed by your teeth and down into your digestive tract. There's actually that's work. And if you've ever experienced after you've had a meal, maybe you get cold. We call it postprandial chills, after meal chills. And that's because your body is taking its energy and it's putting the blood into your digestive systems, pulling it from your extremities and utilizing it in your digestive system so that it can actually metabolize that food. Now, does that happen early on? No, it happens when you're closer to ideal body weight, but it's definitely a thing, and you will experience it when you get closer to ideal body weight or ideal body weight. You will notice that after you eat, you need a sweater or a sweatshirt or a hoodie or something, or you need to go here in Las Vegas and just go stand in the sun, which is wonderful, by the way. But thermic effect of food is affected by things like caffeine. Is caffeine terrible? No. For years, we were told that caffeine was a diuretic and you should really limit it. It's not a diuretic, and if you don't believe me, go online and search it. It is not a diuretic. It is, in fact, however, a stimulant, and it's a pretty powerful one, so you really have to be careful, especially if you're sensitive to caffeine. I'm pretty sensitive to caffeine. If I have a couple of cups of coffee, you don't want to ride with me in a car because you will not get a word in it twice. That's just the way I am. So be careful about the caffeine if you're sensitive to it because it is a pretty potent stimulant. But it is not a diuretic. It does improve the thermic effect of your food. There are other things. Capsaicin or red pepper also improves the thermic effect of your food. And a whole variety of nutrients. And another reason why these micronutrients are so important is because they are part of this equation and they will affect whether or not your body turns on itself to burn the fat or it drops your basal metabolic rate and goes back into starvation. And that's what we want to avoid. So when I have a client on program, they check in with me daily to make sure that number is going down, even by a couple of ounces, but it needs to be going down every single day so that we know that your body's burning its own fat for fuel. Because the minute that you get out of sync with those macronutrients, you are going to trigger the inflammatory response again, and you're going to store water weight. So if you put on 2 or 3 pounds in a day, chances are it's not fat. I mean, you'd have to really go after it because let's face it, most of us know, if you don't, I'm going to tell you, 3,500 calories it takes to become a pound of fat on your body. So 3,500 calories, if you put on 2 pounds over the course of 24 hours, I highly doubt you ate 7,000 calories. If you did, congratulations, Hercules, that was really a feat. I doubt you did. Chances are what happened is you got into the carbohydrates triggered the inflammatory response, your cells filled with fluid, and there you have it. So, this is where a health coach comes in because I can help you to understand all of that. But stay with me in the series because you'll get all these little things one at a time, and they just won't all be, day by day like that. Well, I hope you found some of this information helpful. I hope that it's piqued your curiosity, because in the next episode, I'm going to do a deep dive into how we can actually accomplish this, how you can calculate what your TEE is for yourself personally. And once we are able to do that, then we can actually start to look at what a typical day might look like for you, and do the math on your PAL to make sure that we have a sufficient or adequate amount of calories so that you don't go into starvation, but also so that that side of the equation is higher than the TEE, so that your body is turning on itself to burn its own fat for fuel. So that's what's coming up next. If you like the information that you've gotten so far, hit that like button and subscribe and notifications so that you know when the next one comes up, because it'll be up shortly, I promise you that.